So today, well, what am I going to be doing today? Well, I'm going to be streaming and talking to you guys about more or less, I think today, I don't know if it's going to be always like this, but on a Thursday, might do business English. I want to get a look at, see what's happening, but we're going to look at what's happening in other things as well, but we're going to try and help you with a bit of the business English as well. We'll be looking at some articles in relation to that, look at some speaking, pronunciation, new words that we come across, and also while looking at what exactly is going on in the world. I generally don't have time to read the papers, so this is a good opportunity for me to look at the papers as well and to see what's going on. I hope I can help you guys in any way possible. You are more than welcome to get on the chat, send me a message, and we'll try and interact with you this way as well. If I don't get back to you, I'll be able to get back to you a little bit later. So let's jump in and let's have a look and see what's going on in the headlines. The headlines are the main things. So in this international post, this is the main section. I think we're in the business section here. Yeah, let's go into economy. And this is what I wanted to look at here in relation to inflation, where the prices of things are increasing. And one of the countries that's really, and we're quite aware of, that has been suffering for a long time is Venezuela. So here we have the march of the empty pots against precariousness. So I think what's going on here is a march is when you're walking on the street and you're protesting. Okay, lots of people are getting together and they're protesting. It has been a bit of a mess, to be honest, in Venezuela for many years. If any of you guys, it's probably, let me see what time it is in Venezuela at the moment. If I look here on my, I can get an idea if I look at the world clock. Okay, so the capital of, if I'm right, is Caracas. So Caracas. The time in Caracas right now is 4:23 a.m. 4:23 in the morning. Often we'll say this in English, we'll say in the morning. And in relation to time and daytime, it's always the 12-hour, well, not always, but in general, the 12-hour clock. So 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And if you're ever writing a message to somebody, if you write 17, we'll be like, what's going on? Like, what's 17, So 12-hour clock in the English world. So what's going on in Venezuela? After more than 5 years of severe economic crisis, the country is currently experiencing a slight recovery linked to the widespread adoption of the US dollar and the rise in oil prices. We know that Venezuela has a lot of oil, so the rise in oil prices is going to help. Nevertheless, different words for nevertheless. However, nonetheless, nevertheless, but, okay, demonstrators point to low wages and the disappearance of bonuses allocated to the public sector. Okay, so I think when you start messing with the public sector, which is the people who are working for the government, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have protests. You're going to have people walking on the streets. We will not be deprived of the right to protest. This is one of the instructions. This is one of the things you can see on the cards. We will not be deprived of the right to protest. And there is a march called the Empty Pans March. Your pan is where you cook in, so people are complaining of not having any food. Led by retirees, but also teachers and nurses and other public sector employees, this is the most recent mobilization against the official instructions of the National Budget Office. So what they are doing is, in the National Budget Office, they are cutting. And this is making cutbacks. To make cutbacks is to reduce costs. And obviously, one of the people, or a group of people, that always seem to get affected in this is the retired people. Because I think maybe you can let me know yourselves. I think the retired people are seen as people maybe who don't necessarily, who are not going to protest. They're a bit comfortable, they're a bit maybe lazy, and the government always tries to take money from the retired people. But good for them, they're out and they're protesting, as well as teachers and nurses and other public sector employees. The latter, they're reducing, yes, and it seems that the country is also in an endless economic crisis, never-ending economic crisis. It has been going on since 2015 and got seriously worse in 2017. See if we can look at this video. People protesting here in the Plaza Caracas. So it says employees from the sectors of health and education marching towards the Ministry of Work in Caracas for what we mentioned earlier was the official instructions of the National Budget Office. Okay. Let me see what else we say here. The El Nacional newspapers was quoted as saying they have ripped salaries, pensions and retirement benefits to nothing. But we will not abandon the streets. We, comrades, active, retired and pensioners will continue to take to the streets to claim what is rightfully ours. Okay, so this is what's going on in Venezuela at the moment in relation to inflation. It is a terrible situation what's going on there. Hopefully they can get what they're looking for. Often, I want to know as well, is where you live, are you guys able to go and protest? Do you have freedom to go and protest on the streets, or is it more restricted where you're from? What would happen if you went to protest? Would it generally be peaceful? Would it be successful? Does the government listen to you people? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. And I'll try and interact with you guys. Next we have finance, which is Robinhood. The darling of budding investors is laying off a quarter of its workforce. Okay, so seems to be quite a popular theme right now is layoffs. As we can see here, I'm going to highlight laying off or to lay off. This is to let people go. It's like, okay, we have too many employees. We have 10. We only need 5. So we are going to lay off 5 employees. We are going to let go 5 employees. Many different words in English. You have to fire, to lay off, to let go, and you also have to make redundant. Also, to make redundant is really where you're not really needed anymore, or perhaps the company could say, listen, we want to downsize, we want less people, we will offer you some money to leave. And this is a redundancy. You can receive a redundancy package. So redundancy is okay in general. To lay off and to let go is when they don't need you anymore, or perhaps they want you anymore for some reason. And then to fire, you're fired. For example, this is when it's generally when there has been some misconduct, something has been done wrong, and it's not good. So for example, if you have a fight with a colleague in the office, it gets nasty. If you steal or something really bad, you can be directly fired from your job. So this now is Robinhood, the darling of the budding investor. So it was the darling. It was like, oh my God, this is a great application for people who want to buy shares and get onto the stock market. It seemed to be an application that was on people's phones, that it allowed people to, before it was a bit scary. It was a bit scary to, that's not my world. I don't know how the stock market works. But Robinhood allowed people to have a look and see what it was like to work to have stocks. So Robinhood, the darling of the budding investors, is laying off a quarter of its workforce, 25%. The online brokerage company is facing the fall of the cryptocurrency market and the disavowal of the individuals who had made it successful. Its turnover fell by 44% in the second quarter, and 1,000 jobs were lost. Your turnover is the money that you make. It can be by year, quarterly here, first, second, third, fourth quarter, and 1,000 jobs. So 1,000 jobs, 1,000 people were let go. This is the logo of the online brokerage firm, Robinhood. What happened? Robinhood, the popular American online brokerage platform, is cutting its workforce by 23% as stock markets continue to suffer, reports the Wall Street Journal. This is the second layoff plan this year for the company, which had already separated in April from 9% of its staff. In total, some 1,000 jobs are being lost. Okay, so we can make this a bit bigger. The CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Robinhood, acknowledges that the first wave of departures had not gone far enough to help the company reduce its charges, and that he had overestimated the strong mobilization of individuals observed at the height of the crisis pandemic. It's my fault, writes Vlad Tenev in the letter to the team. Okay, it's not you, it's me, but you're gonna lose your jobs. So, well, this is the way the world works now. I mean, some things like Robinhood here become really, really popular. So popular, so fast. They grow and grow and grow. They get lots of employees, and then things start to calm down, and then they quickly have to get rid of employees. So that was, and as you can see here, from 21 million to 14 million users. Monthly active users dropped to 14 million, a 34% drop in the second quarter from a year ago. Wow. Okay, so overall in a year, 34%. Turnover fell by 44% to $318 million, around or approximately 311 million euros. You can say here 318 million or 318 million. I'm used to saying 318, but you can say 311. Robinhood has democratized trading with its easy-to-use online brokerage platform designed for mobile phones, the newspaper recalls. So this is working. You can work from your phone and interact and learn how to work with trade stock and cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies seem to be obviously another thing that has just exploded onto the scene. Everybody, we're hearing about it non-stop. If you're like me, you're probably a bit on the outside. And, I don't really want to get involved. Okay, I don't have the money to get involved. I don't have the money to lose. However, nowadays, for younger people, for example, it's a lot more difficult if you want to do the traditional things that your parents did. So, for example, if you wanted to buy a house or you want to invest in a property, for example, it's a lot more difficult. So you're trying to save, but it's going to take forever. Or you could invest the little money that you have in a cryptocurrency and you take the risk. You could invest 5,000 and then it could turn into 50,000, 500,000, or your 5,000 in the bank waiting for it to grow to try and get a mortgage for a house. It's going to take forever. So what do you guys think? Is it worth the risk? Are you risk averse, which is you don't like taking risks, or are you a risk taker? I understand people taking the risk. I heard an expression for this yesterday. I was listening to The Economist or the Financial Times, I can't remember which it was. It was, there's an expression for these people. What is it called? It begins with S. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see if I can remember. Anyway, hopefully my coffee will help me remember. Let's have a drink of coffee. You guys can have a drink too. Okay, just to let you know, I'm doing these videos in association with LK Formación, tailor-made solutions for your business. That's a company I work with, and we'll probably, if you can check out the website at lekformacion.com. These are the guys I'm working with, and check it out for human resources and tailor-made solutions for your business. Another thing is I'm going to be trying to upload I'm also Dream Better English on, I can't even think at the moment. It's the morning time. Dream Better English on Spotify and anywhere you get your podcasts. But trying to move into this streaming at the moment and trying to make English a bit more enjoyable. We'll be trying to do perhaps different types of things all the time, making it better, more enjoyable for you if you have a busy day, if you just want to listen to what's going on. And then sometimes we look at the business, okay, like today. So Robinhood, compared to larger, well-established players in the industry, Robinhood users are generally younger and have less money in their wallets. They also gave much support to growth stocks and cryptocurrencies, two categories which have been battered. To batter is to really suffer in this context since the start of the years. Now, because they got rid of so many staff, this is what happened. $30 million fine. Okay. $30 million. So I say the dollars after I say million. And million, quite commonly by students, often I'll hear students put an S at the end, but it's not required. Just 30 million, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. I can understand that you want to put an S at the end. It's not necessary. It's 30 million. And to make matters worse, the company was fined. This is where you get an official, you have to pay money to the government, for example, was fined Tuesday, August 2nd. $30 million, 29.3 million euros. When we talk about numbers, we say point. And when we go up here and we're talking about the internet, we'll say .com. So 29.3 million euros by the regulator of financial services in the state of New York for violations, anti-money laundering and cybersecurity regulations. Okay. So some of these companies set up and then they kind of forget that you are responsible. And if you don't play by the rules of the game, you're going to get fined. Going back. Let's have a look. This is something that they made a joke about the Spanish president. What happened here? Dropping the tie to save energy. Pedro Sanchez mocked by Spanish press. The press is the media. Here he is. He has no tie. A tie you wear here to look more formal. And what did he say? The Spanish Prime Minister suggested to his compatriots to drop the tie to save energy by using less air conditioning. Remarks greeted with exasperation. Okay, so it is a bit... Yeah, but of course, all of these things we say are now sound bites. So you take something small that somebody says in the whole of a big talk. So you can imagine here we have Pedro Sanchez, the president. At some point, he's saying you should use less air conditioning. And he's giving a lot of examples. And then at some point, he says you can even just take off your tie. It's probably what we say a throwaway comment. You just say it like this. It's not something important. But of course, the media jump on this and it becomes viral on Twitter. If I'm looking at the conversation, I will say, oh my God, I can't believe Pedro Sanchez just said that taking off your tie will help save the earth. And then it goes viral, of course. So, but let's have a look anyway. A magician prime minister who tries to create a diversion. This is the image used by La Razón after Pedro Sanchez his press conference on July 29 in Madrid. I think nowadays, okay, look at this, July 29. Normally and traditionally the 29 has been ordinal, 29th. But you can say 29 now. I think it's becoming, English is more fluid, okay? When you want to learn more British or you want to learn more American, it doesn't really matter, or don't become married or don't to one side or the other, because you need to be flexible with English. There are many different countries, and if you're flexible, the better. So here, for example, I'm comfortable with saying July 29, but I generally would say July 29th with the ordinal th at the end. But I could easily get used to 29 if it becomes more common in the future. All smiles and without a tie, he invited his ministers and the Spaniards to follow his example. The conservative Madrid Daily accuses the Prime Minister of diverting attentions by means of secondary and futile subjects. Okay, of course, the conservative Madrid Daily, the daily means daily newspaper, La Razón, would be on the opposite side of the parliament to Pedro Sanchez, who is a socialist. And when you're a socialist, then or they would be Democrats in the United States and the Conservatives. So it's not surprising. But here in this country, in Spain, politics is probably like in your country, very, very divided. And the object seems to be, when I move around or I look at the newspapers, I'm sure it's the same in your country, but when you read the newspapers here, there is an agenda. And you do everything. So for example, I was in the car the other day and I was just driving, going through the stations, and I listened to, this is probably the worst government we've had since the 80s. And straight away, that they've been told to say this. It's probably not the worst government. It's probably just a general government. And then, of course, if the other government gets in, the socialists will say exactly the same. So let me know what it's like in your country. At the moment here, it's a socialist government with a conservative opposition. The Diario de Sevilla said it was not an improvised joke. With such advisors, who needs enemies? Okay, so they're trying to, I suppose what the idea is here, and it's becoming very popular, is to just make everybody angry. Okay, this guy says something in the parliament, let's all get super and incredibly angry about this. But before I leave the article, I want to see if I can find any good words for you guys. The Correo Gallego, meanwhile, also, meanwhile, good word, also urges the government to pull itself together. To pull yourself together means you're not in control of yourself. You don't know what you're doing. Okay, just become rational. Okay. Sometimes people, when they get very stressed or they have anxiety, maybe before exam or something, they're starting to freak out a bit. It's like, come on now, pull yourself together. Concentrate, pull yourself together. Stop being so dramatic. Don't take us for fools, because the tie does not unbalance our economy, nor does it solve its problems. Yeah, so they're being sarcastic here. The solution to all our problems, the tie. El Nacional said it is easier to discuss the energy savings of Thais than to face the poor economy of Spain, where inflation has recently reached 10.8%, a rate not seen in 38 years, and plunges the poorest members of the middle class into poverty. To plunge is to fall very rapidly. If you jump out of a plane with a parachute, you are plunging. You're falling you're plummeting, you're plunging. And I would say the difference between plunge and plummet, Plummet, plummet would be more free falling, and to plunge is more when you go into water. So as you can imagine, here it says plunges the poorest members of the middle class into poverty. Poverty is like the sea. They are above the sea, and then they plunge into the water. Companies that manufacture the market of ties will have to overcome their frivolities. Okay. All right then. So that is Pedro Sanchez there. The Ukrainian ship has left the port of Odessa. Yeah, I saw that. And that's good news. The war in Ukraine, obviously horrific. It's going on. I think everybody's used to it now, and we'll have to see where it goes. Hopefully, yeah, what can I say? You know, you want this to reach a solution as quick as possible so that people can get on with their lives. Tell me and let me know if you guys have had any refugees or any people from Ukraine come to your country. Have you had any contact with those? Do they want to go back? Are they happy to stay in where they are now? Do they want to start a new life, or do they want to go back to their own country? I'd be interested in knowing. And tourism in the Eurozone. European growth was better than expected in the second quarter, driven by the recovery in summer tourism spending, but economists continue to believe recession threatens the continent. So it seems that there is a lot of tourism going on, especially here. I think we have and this is in Mallorca. This part here. A lot of you guys, you've had a very tough few years. People are dying to get away. People are dying to get to the sun. You need a holiday. And a lot of these places, I read this article earlier, in the Mediterranean are up to 93, 97% capacity. So this is great news. This also might lead you to think that everything is okay. People have money to spend. But some economists do feel that we might be on the edge of a recession. The luxury hotel, 1 second. Okay, to find out. The recovery has been notable since April, and the hotel. Okay, so 1,800 euros. This hotel is full until October. Growth figures published Friday, July 29 for Europe show that the economy of the Eurozone grew by 0.7%. I can say not 0.7% or just 0.7%. In the second quarter, thanks to a great return of tourists. The good result, economists expected 0.1%. Contrasts sharply with the US gross domestic product figures, GDP, for the same period, which indicate that the world's largest economy has contracted for the second quarter in a row. The world's largest economy seems to be the United States. I'm not surprised. But how long can that last? Destination, the Mediterranean. Moreover, France, Italy and Spain all posted better than expected figures, with visitors flocking. A flock is like a group of sheep, and they're kind of going towards. When you go towards something in a group, you're flocking to the Mediterranean destinations, says the Financial Times. In Mallorca, the occupancy rate reached 93% in July, according to Maria Frontera, who is the chair of the Association of Hoteliers on the Spanish island. That is 5 points. That is 5 points more than in 2019, the summer before the start of the pandemic. Right. Okay, so as you can see, people have been, during the COVID-19 pandemic, everybody is forced to stay at home. And then maybe afterwards a bit afraid to leave, but now everybody wants to leave and go on holidays no matter what the cost is. People are desperate to get away. But the worst cost of living crisis. Yet the war in Ukraine is weighing on the supply chains of European companies. Thus, the German economy, which is more dependent on manufacturing, is stagnated. Stagnated has not moved. If you talk about water that is stagnant, it's water that is not moving, stagnated. So it stayed still in the second quarter, hardly means very, just a tiny bit. Hardly being able to rely on tourism. However, energy prices have soared. Soared is to go up and plummet is to go down. Soar would be like a bird flying high up into the sky by 40% over 1 year, and those of food by 10%, causing the worst crisis in the cost of living for decades. Okay, yes, energy prices are going through the roof, as we say. Through the roof. Your roof is on your house and the price is going through it. And those are food. So yes, energy costs, electricity, gas. According to figures published on Friday, July 29 by Eurostat, the Statistics Office of the European Commission, inflation in the Eurozone reached a new record of 8.9% in July over 1 year. Even excluding energy and food prices from the index, this rise was 4%. More than double the European Central Bank's 2% target. Okay, so we're all in trouble. How has your country been hit? Is your country okay? Are you being affected? I feel that the whole world is being affected. And let's see if we just finish this article. Economic pressure continues to increase on European consumers. In Italy, the president of the National Federation of Travel and Tourism Industries notes that her compatriots decide not to go on vacation at all, or to stay only 3 days or a week instead of 10 days. Okay, tourism could hide a difficult autumn. As interest rates rise and tourists leave, economists expect growth numbers to deteriorate, especially if tensions with Moscow escalate. Excuse me. So if you yawn, you should say excuse me. I have the windows closed in here because of the noise of the traffic, so the air is a bit stuffy. Stuffy is when you need fresh air, but the air is a bit stale or stuffy, so it makes you a bit. But also, I haven't finished my first coffee yet either. I was bringing the kids to school, so I was in a hurry, as you can imagine. I always make my coffee and I always forget to drink it. So really important. Okay, what's going on? So it's very early morning, in the early hours of the morning at the moment in South America. So you guys, and I have a lot of, most of my followers on YouTube are from South America. So you guys are all in bed. What shall I look at next? Well, I want to just segue, which is kind of move away from the news for the moment. And we're going to look at something that I want the top English-speaking countries in the world. Just a kind of a map. So what do you guys reckon are the top English-speaking countries in the world? Here we have a map of the English-speaking countries in the world. What do you think is number one? English is the third most spoken native language in the world, behind only Mandarin Chinese and Spanish. and is spoken by more people overall than any other language in the world. Right, okay, because some people use it as a second language, I suppose. English gained traction in the world during the 17th century, largely due to the influence of the British Empire. Blah, blah. Okay, let's just get to the point. I'm not going to read all. It's too much information. 10 countries that speak English as a primary language. Number 1, United States. Okay, guys, how do we say this number? If you were in a job interview and they said, look, it's between you and the other candidate, all we need you to do is say this number. Would you be able to say it? It's a bit tricky. Let me try. So I'll leave out the ands, okay? 332,915,073. Is that right? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. 332,915,073. 7,300, I suppose. 68,207,116. 68,207,000. See, I'm saying and sometimes, but like I said, you can say and or not. So, United States in first place, 332,915,073. United Kingdom is 68,207,116. Canada, except for Quebec, because in Canada, over here, there's a large portion over here that speaks French, trying to get independence for a long time. So we have Canada, except for 38 million. I thought there were more people in Canada. Yeah, not as many as I thought. 38,067,903. Australia, 25,788,215. I want you guys saying this in your head. This is a big surprise for me. Liberia. Where is Liberia? Liberia is on the west coast of here. What's this one? Sierra Leone. Liberia, I think, was a country set up or created by people from... Okay, I don't know the history of Liberia, but this is what I believe it is. The slaves that went to the Americas then were able, and I'm sure it's more the English-speaking part of the Americas, the United States, those who went back to Africa. I don't know if this was the country already existed or they created this country for those people. I'll have to look into it. Okay, let's have a look quickly, because when was Liberia founded? Liberia and Wikipedia. Oh my god. Right, let's just try and read a quick the start of it. Is a country in Western Africa coast. It is bordered by Sierra Leone, to okay, it's a population of 5 million. Okay, here we go. Liberia began in the early 19th century as a project of the American Colonization Society, which believed black people would face better chances for freedom and prosperity in Africa than in the United States. Between 1822 and the outbreak of the American Civil War in 1861, more than 15,000 freed and freeborn black people who faced social and legal oppression in the United, along with 3,198 Afro-Caribbeans, relocated, gradually developing an Americo-Liberian identity. The settlers carried out their culture. Okay. So, yeah, it was created as a project to send slaves or freeborn slaves or free people back to the America. So there you go. If you didn't know that, now you do know. 5,180,203. So Liberia didn't know that. Now there's Ireland, where I'm from. 4 million, almost 5 million. We're pushing 5 million. We're pushing 5 million, so we're almost there. 4,982,907. It's not that difficult to actually say these numbers, guys. You just, I mean, you know in your own country, or a lot of you know, like this is the millions, thousands, and the hundreds. So you just actually have to say 4,982,907. They are intimidating. When you look, it's a bit scary. New Zealand, 4,860,643. Jamaica, I thought Jamaica had more people. Jamaica, 2,973,463. Trinidad and Tobago, I bet you guys, you do know where that is. Is it not going to show up on the map? Trinidad and Tobago, I think. Okay. Well, it's putting Trinidad and Tobago here, but it's not really. It's islands of Venezuela. Let's have a look at the maps, because I want to find out where that is exactly. I like to find out. Maps, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's look on Google. Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, probably off the coast of Venezuela. Yes. Oh, Venezuela is a big country. So this island here, on this island they speak English. And then I think over here they speak Dutch in Aruba. Look at this island. Kralendik, that's obviously Dutch. Very interesting. I'm very quite interested in this type of stuff. Let's quickly go back. Trinidad and Tobago, 1,403,375. And Guyana, which I think is on the west coast of Africa. Guyana, I could be wrong. Yes, I was wrong. Guyana. French Guiana, sometimes people call it. Over here, just above Brazil. These three countries are relatively unknown. A lot of people, like, it's Brazil, Venezuela, and then it's like, look, French Guiana, Suriname. These three countries are unknown, as well as this little bad boy. Where is it? Come over here. Oh, this one, Belize. A lot of people don't know Belize, which I think it's English speaking, but I think there's just nobody that lives there. Very, very few people. Belize. There's Cuba, and where's Jamaica? Jamaica is smaller than I thought. Yeah. Very famous island for Bob Marley, first and foremost, I would say, and then the runner Usain Bolt, and many other, very famous for track and field. And then, as we were saying, top English-speaking countries in the world as primary or lingua franca. India, 1,393,409,038. So maybe it's saying, like, for example, in the United States, what was that, 300? Pakistan, Nigeria, Philippines, United Kingdom again, Tanzania, South Africa, Kenya, and Canada. yeah, a lot of these countries you would have. So there you go, guys. All these countries where you go, people for reasons of generally, I said, well, it's obvious, colonization, speak English. Okay, moving on now to word of the day. What have we got? Should we start with saying of the day or idiom of the day? I'll start with a phrasal verb. Talk round. Okay, talk round. Phrasal verbs, very common in the English language, but a bit frustrating for people, a bit difficult sometimes. You need to just think of them as expressions. As I generally say, think of it as an expression, not really as like grammar. And talk round, let's look at the meaning. If you talk somebody round, you persuade them to do what you want them to do or agree with you. Okay, so let's say, for example, easy one, okay? Summer holidays. You as a family want to go to different places, okay? Let's say, for example, your sister wants to go, skiing. Okay, let's just say, for example, on a holiday. Skiing, and you want to go to the sea. So you try to convince your sister that it would be better to go to the sea because for many different reasons, okay? Because you can always go to the mountains in the winter when it's better skiing and so on. So you try to talk her round. You try to bring her to start understanding to change her mind. Okay, so generally, if someone says no to something, you try to talk them round, which means they'll say yes. Make them understand, make them realize that what you want is important. Or you ask your dad for the car, and it's like he says no, and then you try to talk him round. Say, look, I'll be very careful. The insurance is already organized for the family, or something like this. Okay, so it's try to persuade someone. Let's have a look at some examples. Talk somebody round. It took a while, but I finally talked him round and he agreed to lend me the money. She doesn't like the idea, but we think we can talk her round. Okay, so sometimes you might say, look, I asked somebody to do something. She said no, but do you think you could talk her round? Like you talk to her and see if you can change her mind. Let's go back. And that was our phrasal verb. Let's go to idiom of the day. What's it going to be? Hit the roof. What do you guys think this? I told you guys an expression earlier on, which was go through the roof. Your roof is the top of your house, the cover of your house, if you live in a house. And to go through the roof means generally about the price of something. So the price of gold has gone through the roof. It's gone really, really high. So hit the roof. Any idea? Is it related or is it completely different? Let's have a look. You can say someone hits the roof if they lose their temper and show their anger. So when somebody gets really angry. So you asked Dad, can I use your car? He said no. You couldn't talk him around. So when he went, when he wasn't there, you took the car and then you crashed the car. And what's your father going to do when he finds out? He's going to hit the roof. He's going to go crazy. He's going to get angry. He's going to hit the roof. So when the boss saw Jim's mistake, he hit the roof. He yelled and thumped. Thump is to bang down. He thumped the desk, which the desk is the table you work on in work or in school. Or if it's generally a work table, it's called a desk. And when it's at home, it's a table. So here's it's my desk. I have a desk here. When Johnny's dad found out, to find out means to discover, that he'd been smoking cigarettes, he hit the roof. Okay, it means go crazy. Try and use that, guys, honestly. When you say someone's going to get really angry or they're going to get crazy, you say they're going to hit the roof. Okay? Also a good one here is, don't make me lose my temper. Don't make me get angry. Let's go back. So you've had the phrasal verb. Let's go to slang. Peace. Okay. I'm going to make a guess. It depends on context here. Peace, I would say, is slang for a gun. Let's have a look. A gun. I was right. After he walked in the store, Danny pulled out a piece and demanded the money. As long as he got rid of the piece he'd used to shoot that guy, he didn't think the cops could prove he'd done it. To get rid of something, you need to use this as learners. Every level of people, I recommend get used to this expression as quick as you can. To get rid of something. He got rid of. It just means threw away or throw out or give away or whatever. Just, I need to get rid of some clothes. I have too many clothes. I'm going to get rid of some of them. I'm going to give them to people. I'm going to give them to charity. I'm going to throw them in the bin. Often people would say throw out. But to get rid of something is put it somewhere else, give it to someone. So it's really flexible. It's a great expression. And peace, you will hear this in... it depends on where you go, but in movies, in songs, it's just a nickname, another name for a gun. And finally, we have our saying of the day. Let's see. Sometimes these aren't. Okay. I never use this, but I get it. None so blind as those who will not see. Nobody is blinder than the person who decides he does not want to see. Often used in reference to prejudice and intolerance. Okay, so sometimes people just do not want to change their attitude. They don't want to change their minds. They just don't they don't want to believe in something. So that we say they're blind, and they're more blind because they don't want to see. They don't want to see the reality, or they don't want to see the truth. So it's a good expression. There's none so blind as those who will not see. All right. So that's the type of thing we can look at this. This is from the englishclub.com. You can check it out yourselves every day. I recommend it. Because if you can learn something every day, you've got 4 things a day from these guys. And you never know. You might remember. One of them might stick in your head. Try and learn something every day. At least a word or... and you'll be surprised. It seems like something small. But... every day, just something, just keep in contact. Let me see. I want to go back now to the main headlines. And here is a picture of, this is what happened in, do you guys remember which country it was? 3, 2, 1. And how do you say it in English? The Lebanon, or Lebanon. I think we used to say the Lebanon, but Lebanon. This, I think, was these were silos. Silos is where you store material. And I think it was storing grain. Grain silos. Grain is from, like, to make bread. What do you guys think of the American, who is she? Nancy Pelosi? I don't know what her job is. I think she's a representative or a speaker in one of the ministerial houses, and she went to Taiwan. So the situation is, China, if we look at the map, we move across. Okay, so here's China. I think I mentioned this before. It's China over here, and then right down here we have Taiwan. So China sees Taiwan as kind of part of its territory. Taiwan wants to be an independent country. And the United States are supporting Taiwan. China's not very happy. And there was a visit from one of the American politicians. What do you guys think? I mean, I understand China. I mean, it's next door, but then I understand Taiwan. And then the United States, I understand them as well, because the United States probably sees China as an economic threat. China's doing very well. China's trying to become a big player. China, so you can't blame China. It's like it's the way of the world, you want to become bigger. So this situation, I was talking about this in my last live stream, could escalate, which means could get worse. And there's Hong Kong down there. Interesting thing, it used to belong to the British until 1999, I think. And a lot of the Hong Kong people, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of their first names are English. So, yes, what do you think? Taiwan, should it be independent? Naturally part of China? The United States trying to bully? Or is it normal? Or is the United States a friend of Taiwan? It's what we call geopolitics. It's the way of the world. It's the way it works. And if you look at what's going on, and if you follow me on here, we'll have a look at this type of thing, and we'll comment on it. We'll see what you guys think, and so on. Obviously, depends on where you live. Depends on who you are. We're over here in Europe. We're kind of separated from all that. Okay. So, grandson, 2 years after the explosion in Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, do you think you can erase your crime? Let me zoom out a bit here. No, I'm zooming in there. Let's see what was happening quickly while we were sleeping. Zoom out. Looks like a volcano erupted somewhere. New volcanic eruption in Iceland. Okay, here it is. I hope you guys are scientists, and I hope you know what you're doing, because there is no way you would catch me that near lava. For me, it's one of the scariest things. I hope these guys know what they're doing, because to be caught in lava, not nice. Not nice. New volcanic eruption in Iceland. The Reykjavik region was the scene of a new eruption on Wednesday near the site of Mount, here we go, Fagradalsfjall, where a volcano had already erupted in 2021. The Meteorological Institute of Iceland, which monitors seismic activity, seismic is related to the earth shaking, like earthquakes, estimated the length of the crack around 300 meters. So the crack is like the break in the ground. It is located about 40 kilometers from Reykjavik and less than a kilometer from the site of the 2021 eruption. We are talking about Iceland, 40 kilometers. So I imagine it must be somewhere here, no? Probably, if this were to be... let's go to our terrain. And we're looking for a high area. What's it called again? Do you guys remember? Let's go back. What was it called? Mount Fraga. I think if I type that in, we'll find it. Mount Fraga. If I take away the mount, I bet I'll find it. Fraga. It was Fragadal, wasn't it? Yes. Oh. Okay, so it's southeast. Southeast. Southeast of Reykjavik. Right, okay. Stay safe, guys. 40 kilometers and less than a kilometer from the site. Okay. Okay, so everybody knows, okay, the Reykjavik grapevine. That doesn't mean a big eruption, but caution is advised. Last year's eruption had turned into a tourist attraction and attracted more than 43,000 visitors. I got that wrong. 430,000 visitors. According to the Icelandic Tourist Board. What else happened? NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the United States ratifies the entry of Sweden and Finland. Okay, guys, here we go. Sweden and Finland are now part of NATO. If Russia does anything, we're all going to have to get involved. The people who live in Europe and the United States. The US Senate overwhelmingly, which means by a lot, passed Sweden's and Finland's NATO membership, a historic vote designed to strengthen the Atlantic Alliance as war rages in Ukraine, writes CNN. President Joe Biden hailed the vote as an important sign of America's enduring cross-partisan commitment to NATO. Okay. Including the United States, 23 states out of the 30 necessary have already ratified the accession of the two countries, according to the okay. So basically, the United States says yes, but Turkey still hasn't said if they will agree. They're probably doing some billet politics, You scratch my back, I scratch yours. What are you going to do for me? So Turkey is probably asking for... Oh, here we go. Yes. Okay, so Turkey's not happy because the Nordic countries are friendly towards the Kurdish Workers' Party, PKK, and its friends, its allies. So, well, this is the thing. When we look at geopolitics, is down here we have Turkey, and around this region, all over here, we have the Kurds. And the Kurds want their own country. They are an ethnic group. There are many millions, and Turkey is like, you live here, you're Turkish. Be proud. And the Kurds are like, no, we're Kurdish. We want our own land. So a bit in Syria, a bit in Iraq, a bit in Iran, a lot in Turkey. And where was I? I was in this Urfa part not long ago. And it's interesting to see the different style of the people. So I do recommend going there if you ever visit. Gaziantep, fantastic place. Urfa, I went down to visit these place in these houses here, not far from the Syrian border, conical shaped to protect against the sun. I had a guy show me around, and my wife around. It was excellent. Just very, very near the border, actually, very near the border of Syria. And then over here you have Mardin. It's a fantastic place. I want to visit this place so much. Really looking forward to visiting that place. And also you have historical sites around the area of... the reason I went over there is I wanted to see... You guys have to check it out as well. Is... this place. It's a historical site of one of the oldest sites in the world, and it's over here in Turkey. I like this kind of thing, Why not? I'd love to be able to visit around here and visit archaeological sites and so on. Just once they have a pub near every place, that'll make me happy. So yeah, here in the east of Turkey, you've got the Kurdish people. They want their own. Well, some of them are happy. Some of them are just kind of happy the way things are, and some of them are terrorists. If you are the Turkish government, and then if you're them, you refer to yourself as a freedom fighter. So that's the way it is. Are you a freedom fighter or a terrorist? It depends on the political point of view. Okay, so that's what happened. Sweden and Finland want to join NATO. If anything happens, all the other countries come together to protect. Iran nuclear talks resume. After several months of deadlock is when you just can't advance. If you're trying to negotiate and there's one thing, it's like, we want this amount of money before we continue. No, we can't. You're at a deadlock. It's deadlock. Let me highlight it. Deadlock. US and Iranian negotiators will meet in Vienna on Thursday under the aegis of the European Union. For a new round of talks. So a round of talks would be have a talk on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. In the hope of saving the Iranian nuclear agreement, reports Al Jazeera. Since 2019, or since 2019, Iran has developed its nuclear program and has continued to increase its stock of enriched uranium. Observed the Qatari channel, which is Al Jazeera, is from Qatar. Just in case you guys didn't know, while we're talking about maps today, or I'm obsessed with the map, Qatar is here. On the Persian Gulf, Bahrain, Qatar. Bahrain's very green, isn't it? Oh no, it's water. Oh, like Bahrain's like a little island. Okay, so it's like a delta. So this is where Al Jazeera is from, Qatar, and this is where they're going to have the World Cup. The World Cup this coming winter. Or winter in the north of the northern part of the world. Al Jazeera on Wednesday, Iranian negotiator called on the United States to seize this opportunity and act responsibly. The American envoy stressed for his part that the expectations were measured, but the United States is ready in good faith to try to find an agreement. Okay, well, this is always a problem with Iran and Israel and the United States. Israel is kind of convinced that, if Iran gets the opportunity, they're going to blow us all up. They're going to send over a nuclear bomb. And, so, and the United States is very close to Israel. We're going to leave it there for today. That has been our stream. We're going to try and look at various different things on various different days. We're going to try and create a more precise schedule so you guys know when I'm going to be online and what we're going to focus on. At the moment, we're just starting, but hopefully getting better and better. Do leave a comment and subscribe so you can see when I'm online. That would be fantastic. And also, if it's okay for you and you think it's okay, tell a friend. Let them know about the channel. It's also going to have podcasts on Dream Better English. You can find it on any of your platforms. We're going to be uploading there soon to help you with your listening, pronunciation, speaking, listening, all that kind of thing. English. Try and make it a bit more enjoyable. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall talk to you very, very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.